Well, my guest today is Evan Kraft, all the way from you're joining us from Nashville today?
From Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. What time is it over there in Nashville?
It's 5:30
In,
p.m.
in the evening. So have you had dinner yet?
I have not.
No. What's on the menu?
It is my turn to figure out to make something. My wife has cooked for 2 days, so she said, "You're up."
You're up. You're up. Ah, that's cool. Okay. So do you get kind of creative with your meals?
Well, so there is actually a soccer game happening, a football game. We live near the stadium here in Nashville, and so we
Yeah.
might go, and then I can just buy us food. But
Ah, that's
otherwise,
clever. That's clever.
yes, which tickets are pretty cheap, so we might just go and do that.
Well, I wanted to know actually, and this is a little bit of a tangent. Again, we want to talk all about your single "Be All Right," the remix. We're loving it here in Brisbane, so we'll get to that in a second. But you are one of those artists who is embraced by two different cultures. So you sing a little bit of Spanish, sing a little bit of English, and it's well received by both. So does that Spanish influence maybe influence the way that you cook? So do you do many Spanish
Yeah.
meals?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of friends that are from Venezuela, and so they've taught us to make arepas. We have a lot of Salvadorian friends, and obviously we eat a lot of Mexican food, love Mexican food. I would say that like out of all of my travels, Mexico has just they've gotten the food down.
They got it down pat. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we make as much. I mean, it's not authentic, but it's our version of Mexican food.
So talk to me about how you've kind of, stepped both in the English scene and the Spanish scene. And it's obviously a lot different in the States than it is here in Australia. You've got a large population, Hispanic population. And so talk to me about how that even happened.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Los Angeles, California, which is 60% Spanish speaking. And so it was kind of I mean, I remember growing up hearing you got to love your neighbors yourself. And so how can I love my neighbor if I can't speak the language? And so, I know that like politically, a lot of people have all their different opinions, but I just said, if you can't beat them, join them. And so I started taking Spanish classes. I loved it at 15. And so, my life is I've been surrounded by a ton of Latinos that have really shaped me and formed me, and really made me enriched my entire life. And so, I started out going down to Mexico to the border, playing in Tijuana. I thought I was going to be a missionary. I thought I was, just going to work with children's homes and different things. And it took off in a way when I went to Colombia, and my music took off on YouTube. And that was just such a surprise because I kind of thought like YouTube artists were like B artists. They couldn't make it with a record label. And actually that was the thing that really carried my career for years and years. And so, Latin America is such an important place for me, and the people are so important to me that it's been amazing.
Yeah, oh, that's so good. I find that the Spanish language is one of the more beautiful to listen to. It's just that I don't understand it myself. But you're about to. We can learn. We can learn. Actually, yeah. I've got something on that, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But I do want to you to give a bit of space to the fact that you're going on tour very soon. So talk to me. Are you excited about that? You done anything like this big before?
Yeah, so the tour in March was absolutely incredible. We were in New York, Miami, a lot of Latin markets, and that was mostly in Spanish. And this new tour coming up with KB is my first English tour. I mean, I have the privilege of really representing and singing most of the Spanish on the tour, so it's going to be really, really fun. It's a 15-city tour across from Texas to Michigan down to Florida.
Yeah. Oh, well, this is cool. Like, no, most artists don't get to do two separate tours. You get to do a Spanish tour and an English tour. Very cool. And so
it's a little bit of whiplash sometimes because I do some of the same songs. Be All Right has an English version, a Spanish version, and now a hip hop version. And so trying to keep them straight is a little bit of a challenge.
You kind of like could start off the concert with one. Throw in the bilingual one, and then finish with the English. I don't know. You You could get
Yeah.
creative with that, I'm sure.
And if I don't sing something right, I'll just tell you it was a different language.
You've always got that as a backup.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So what is coming up for you is your 1 year anniversary. So this is big. So congratulations. You've been married for
Thank you.
almost 1 year now. How has marriage affected, the way that you kind of tour and record and trying to get that balance in what you
Well,
do?
my wife is a saint. She lets my producer come, and we've been best friends for 10 years. So he's actually arriving today. He's staying for a week. And so it's been really cool because we're a landing pad for a lot of different people. But this is our first big tour that hasn't been disrupted by COVID. And so, we'll be apart for almost 3 weeks. I think we're coming back through Nashville twice. But yeah, it's definitely, I route myself differently and try to make sure I'm home more. I mean, usually I would go and leave for Latin America 12, 24 days at a time. And definitely have a reason to be home now.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And so for my first wedding anniversary, I bought my wife another engagement ring.
Wow.
But it was only because she didn't like the first one. So, I mean, like, this is your chance. Does she like the original engagement ring?
Yes. And I think I got a good gift for her. And I'll tell you, because I don't think she'll listen to an Australian radio station anytime soon.
She could. I might send it to
her
her.
In her car. Yeah. But I wrote her a song for our engagement, and I recorded the song. And so it will come out that week. And she was telling me she wanted it to come out. She loved the song. And it came out probably better than anything I've ever put out. So I am really excited for people to hear it. And I think she'll love it. And then I have a few other surprises for her.
That's beautiful, Evan.
Really
That's great.
cool.
So what's it called?
It's called My One and Only.
My One and Only. Okay, that sounds like a song dedicated to one's wife.
I'm hoping that every bilingual couple that is walking down the aisle, that's their new song.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll play it for my wife as well. Okay, here's the thing. The song Be All Right has been awesome here. We love it. The remix, and it's got KB, who you're going to be touring with.
Yeah, and Sam Rivera. He'll be on the tour as well.
And I love how the song you had one sound, and then all of a sudden this song has taken a whole new twist. Tell us about how the song came about. What was your process, and how it's evolved into this version that we've been enjoying now?
Be All Right is such a cool song because we actually wrote it first in Spanish, and we were thinking about people in Latin America. And I wrote it for Redimidos, who is the Dominican artist that released it originally. And I was lamenting the fact that I gave it to him. And I was like, wait, I speak English. I should release this in English. And really not understanding how powerful the song was going to be. But then I wrote a second verse during quarantine, really thinking of my brother, because he lost his job and it was a really, really difficult time for him. And just that whole idea of, there's so many sayings, God has the world in his hands, that everything will be all right. But also that fear of, what if I slip through the cracks? Am I so insignificant that God can't even see me? And so there was this kind of tension in the song that I thought was really beautiful. And I sent it to Danny Goke. He had agreed to be on it. It was a huge blessing. It was incredible. It was like a rocket ship. We couldn't stop the song. And so it's just icing on the cake to have KB and Sam Rivera, which Sam Rivera was, he's very, very talented. No one really knew who he was. And he released a version of Be All Right in English before I did. And I got thousands of messages on social media that you need to meet this guy. You need to meet this guy. You need to meet this guy. So I call him up, and he was a huge fan of KB. And I said, hey, like, I have KB's number. Let's try to make this happen. And so now he's on tour with us. This is his first tour. And isn't
that great how everything's kind of come through? It's so beautiful. Okay, so for those of us who maybe don't know what you're singing, I was wondering maybe you could take a bit of time just to help me understand. Australians are notoriously bad at the way that we pronounce things. First of all, what's the translation? What do you sing on that opening line?
All right, so I say todo va a estar bien, which means everything will be all right.
Everything will be all right. So, but it's in Spanish.
So think of like todo,
Todo.
like the band Toto.
You todo?
Okay, but like with a, the second T would be like softer, like a D. Todo.
Todo. Yep.
A, V-A.
D-A. Okay.
Todo va. Todo va. V as in Victor. Todo va a
Todo
estar.
va a estar.
Estar, which means to be.
Estar.
Bien.
Bien.
Todo
va a estar bien.
There you go.
You are an amazing teacher. Well done.
I thought you were Chilean for a second.
Yeah, Brisbane, Chile. My mum's been to Chile. That's got to count for something.
Yeah.
My daughter, right? She brought the song to her classroom because on Fridays the teacher says, "Hey, bring your songs in that you love and whatever, and we'll play them at the class." And so she brought this song to her class. And no one knew it, and they were just like, everyone's loved this song, right? Her classroom and her teacher, they're like, this is the best. Now there's a little boy called Pablo in the class, and he was able to translate for them, and everyone's going, oh, that's in Spanish, and little Pablo jumps up, he said, I can speak that, and this is what it says, and we found out that everything will be all right. And so it was a beautiful moment for my daughter. So
that's absolutely that's so cool, because someone who may feel like on the marginalized because they speak a different language or whatever, at that moment is the hero. And that's really cool.
Pablo is the hero.
Come on.
Okay, just before we finish up, I love the concept of a song that says everything will be all right. Okay, so there's some big songs that go, everything's going to be all right. I don't know, what's your song? Everything's going to. What's that?
Big song from Jamaica. There's a really big song from Jamaica.
Okay, but I think like it has so much power because of those little moments in our lives. We get overwhelmed and it's stressful, and it's not even a big thing, but you let it get to you, and in that moment, that's when we need to hear everything will be all right. So I was wondering if I could just bring to you, Evan, maybe some of the more stressful moments of my last week or so, and would you be able to sing back to me, everything will be all right? Would that be okay? So I'll say the scenario. You tell me you sing to me that everything's gonna be all right, and we'll see if that has a big effect on me. Is that okay?
That's great.
All right, okay. So the first one, my wife yesterday, she was running late, and we needed to go, but she hadn't done her makeup, and I would have had to tell her she's gonna have to do her makeup in the car.
Todo va a estar bien. Everything will be all right.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, next one. I took my son to our Brisbane Broncos match. They're a football team here, and it's the first match that we've ever went to, and they got beaten so bad.
Oh man,
it was so bad.
Todo va a estar bien. Everything will be all right.
This is good. It's so soothing. I can feel the stress just leaving me right now. Okay, so our cat, right, spends more time with the neighbor of the back fence than he does with us as a family. So
Todo va a estar bien. Everything will be all right.
Evan Kraft, everything will be all right. There's just something about hearing that phrase. It's the best phrase to hear in a stressful situation. No wonder the song is connecting with so many people because of that wonderful truth. Thank you so much for joining me today, and all the best with the upcoming tour and releasing that new single that's coming out as well.
Thank you so much.
Just before you go, would you be able to introduce your song for us on 96.5 in Brisbane?
Hey guys, it's Evan Kraft and you're listening to 96.5. This is my song Be Alright with KB and Sam Rivera.